All right, good to go.
Okay, we got a quorum. Call the meeting to order. Reading and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. I move to approve the minutes.
Second,
And a second?
Yep.
Motion made and seconded. Comments, additions, correction. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Bills, communication. Dicey.
Katie, did you want to speak to this or would you prefer that I did?
I can do it. Well, the bills we have this month are one from NYSEG for $145.11 for Eagle Drive. We have one for the monthly interest for October on the CCDC loan. And we have an invoice from Mike for consulting services of $4,166.66. Those are all the bills we have. I don't have any other communications.
You know, Bill,
No. This one.
is there a motion to pay our bills?
How are you?
How are you?
Good, you. Second.
Mike is here for the month of September? Yes.
Questions to the bills? All in favor?
Oh, it's
Any opposed? Carry on.
first page.
Executive director updates.
All right, so everyone should have in their packet my written update for this last month, but I'll go over a quick highlight of the last couple of weeks. What I've been working on here. I've been working with Justin and Rick, as well as our friends from the Oak Plan, and we've been continuing discussions. Item there, also that with a potential property owner for the IDA to acquire land along with Justin last week. What they have requested of us so far is put something in front of them to consider, so I'll work with Justin on that, what we'll be keeping this board well informed on what we're thinking there. We're also trying to re-kick our discussions with the Sunny Solar developers for the towns of Scipio and the town of Ledger. If you recall, we started this much earlier in the year and it's kind of stalled out, but we're trying to, reignite that one to come to fruition, hopefully before year end here. Continuing to work through planning transition as directed by this board with CETA and IDA. Part of that I've included in your packets later in the meeting today is a couple of proposals just for operational requirements that's related to email and phone, particularly here. I've also worked on putting together our pilot billing for that. I'll get out this month. We can get that all collected and sent out to our taxing jurisdictions. And over the next week, couple of weeks here, we're really going to be working with Katie on putting together our 2024 budget. That's one of the things that needs to be decided going into our meeting next month for adoption. That's also rolled into our Paris reporting requirements for the state as well there. One quick note I wanted to point out here. So I received a note from the EDA that they're having a blackout date for any reimbursement request from tomorrow through October 26th. So I'm glad Mark's here. So in case we get anything that comes in during that time, we won't be able to submit anything, but I do believe we have enough cash in the bank to address any bills that come through in the meantime. Just push out the reimbursement a little bit. Those are the highlights. That being said, happy to answer any questions. That's all I have. Then.
Questions? Thank you. Report of the treasurer.
Katie?
Okay, so profit loss for the month of August, we have a net income of 15.94. You can see by looking at it, there wasn't a whole lot of activity. We had some interest income and we paid the electric for Eagle Drive, and that was about it. For the year, right now, our negative bottom line is a minus $115,540.34. But we had actually budgeted it to be a lot higher than that. So we're not outside the budget, but we are running at a negative right now, which hopefully will turn around as various projects kick in. And that's really about all I have to say on the, we have the 800 and I think $16,000 in our money market right now. And surprisingly, even though all of those transfers were made in August, we got a little over $2,000 in September on interest already on that money market. So that was definitely a good move that you decided to make there.
Thank you. Motion to approve the treasurer's report. So move. Second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You want to go right into the milk plant? Oh, we got people probably.
We can any longer than we need.
Yeah. Executive session or
Well, I think we'll keep executive session separate, but I believe our friend from the milk plant wanted to provide a project update as well as any questions for the board.
In terms of the project update, I know we're continuing to work as you may know at the last meeting, the planning board for the town of Aurelius approved the site plan for the project, which is what we're waiting for, and we have obtained the building permit for construction. We again received the updated matrix and proposal from Justin Miller with regard to both the CMI and Eagle Drive Holdings proposals. We appreciate the board's, at least Justin and staff, whoever has been part of the discussion of that, of hearing, our concerns regarding it and coming up with a resolution we think is fair in terms of the economics of the pilot end of the house. We are again, things have continued to kick out just with the process with the town, and such. We're getting the building permit process and the extra month for the site plan approval. We're really concerned about winter conditions and getting started. I know the ask from the client's been made about reauthorize or updating the LDA to allow us to begin to pour foundations while we await. Steel is scheduled to be delivered mid-October. I know if we were to play this out with a public hearing in first week of October, potentially a closing into the next week thereafter, if everything went well, we just don't want to lose these 2 weeks for purposes of the foundation. So I know in the LDA there's some obligations with regard to us providing proof of the stormwater pollution prevention plan and other documents. Again, we are, I know this is Chip Aiken, who's in charge of the project on the operations side for the builder here. He's meeting with the general contractor tomorrow to get the information that is required. He has the LDA in front of him. If we could, from a practical perspective, update this LDA to allow us to pour foundations with the hope that steel is going to arrive mid-October, and we can start putting that up. Once we got it, we recognize during this interim 2-week period, we're paying sales tax, paying prevailing wage. We all understand that, but the loss of the 2 weeks puts it out 4 or 5 months. The cost is exponential, and so understanding the business side of that and the implications of starting early before we have the project authorized, again, assuming the board's plans to authorize, we understand, after the public hearing, we understand the risk. And from our perspective, it's a risk we have to take to save the project budget at this point.
If we deal with the pilot that basically has been what we have in front of us, which is the first time I think most of us have seen, but that's been agreed by you and by Justin and Mike, right?
I don't know what's in front of you. I know that the 72.5 million dollar assumed assessed valuation, I think is a fair resolution. On that the last version, I assume that's what's in front of you, but I can't speak to that.
Yeah, that's what was circulated to the board.
Show this down to him, but make sure we're on the same page with that.
Yes,
I think later we will establish the public hearing for the pilot. And I think Justin has recommended the 4th of October for that. But if everybody's ready to deal with it, I would move that we include in the thing that we gave you to move dirt around and stuff. I would make a motion to include the ability to enforcement beginning tomorrow morning.
if we get like, and again, I'm not trying to be cute, but prepare foundations and similar things. We're not going to erect steel until we get that on site. So I don't want to speak for the contractors about what we're doing. We have to prepare, we have to dig, we have to do those things, but get ready for steel.
I think you've explained very well why it's necessary for you to pour some cement now to get ready for that building stuff that's coming in. So it just.
Yeah, let's use Bob's word. Bob's got a suggestion for it.
Just use the verbiage as to allow them to prepare up to and including pouring floors.
Yes.
You can do big, prepare floors.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Make that in.
Excavation and rebar and all the other things that are involved, but yes, that's ultimately that's what
He's perfectly happy with that, the guy that's gonna do it, right?
Does Justin have a comment?
Well, I second the motion.
Would be subject to revised LDA approved by a special counsel. And signed by. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the LDA can be amended to have a next phase of preliminary work that includes generally what Jared just described for foundations. We would ideally get a list from the engineer, Jared, or your GC, like 2 or 3 sentences of what that is.
I think you're,
I can hear Justin.
I can't either.
No, that's.
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, we
Sorry.
just need to add a couple
Name,
sentences.
sir, Miss Bob indicated some language about preliminary work, including up to and including pouring footers.
Up to and including pouring footers.
Footers, and I think is fine according to what our the contractors here. So that's the description.
Okay. We can work on a draft with Jared and get that circulated if the board's comfortable with it. As part of that, in the existing LDA, we just need contracts and bonding and some insurance, that kind of stuff.
Right, so you can see me, and I'm making sure that the information that's required in the current LDA is being delivered to Chip. He sees it right there in that beautiful paragraph right there, and he's going to the general contractor tomorrow. And is hopefully going to deliver walk out of that office with that information or have a good word on it.
That is my intention.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Discussion.
How far through the project is this gonna take it? I mean,
Basically up until the point where the steel arrives on site, which is currently scheduled for October 16th. So this is just basically a stopgap for the next 4 weeks, I guess that is, somewhere in there, 3 to 4 weeks.
If the pilot goes through the way it is, then they can do anything they want to after the pilot.
yeah, I just wondered if you needed to ask us for more than.
I mean, ultimately, the reason we haven't gone as far as the actual steel is just because of the fact that the steel is a pretty involved process that involves erection and the actual delivering of the steel. And we would like to basically have a clear separation between everything that is in preparation for the steel. And then everything, give the approval for the pilot, and then everything from that point on forward is done through the pilot.
The sales tax implications on the steel are tremendous, so it's, I think, when we do the math too. It's $1 million, so we gotta get the sales tax, benefit before that delivered, or it's another $1 million and I'm probably gonna get fired, so if everything, we can try to keep that done, we sure appreciate that.
Yeah, so I think that's
You have
that's
a resume, wouldn't you?
So again, the hope is to get the closing done on or before the 16th, when the steel is due to arrive.
correct.
All right, is that call the vote?
Well, what does he mean by the closing?
Well,
The property.
Oh, okay, you need to get that done.
I want to do whatever Justin tells me I need to do to get the sales. I don't care about owning the property as long as I can get the sales tax. The sales tax for the steel. And we can erect it. We can close in 2027 for all I care.
If we set the date of the public hearing on the 4th, when can we go from there to where he wants to be?
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier today and about the logistics for the public hearing. And it sounds like there may be some more flexibility to actually have the public hearing at the plant, and they've indicated availability on October 6th. We were shooting for the 4th because that was the earliest date based upon a publication this Saturday in the Citizen. But if we target the 6th, that's even better, 2 more days. The board can meet anytime after that public hearing on October 6th, including on the 6th after the hearings, if you'd like to. And once that meeting is conducted and you adopt your final resolutions, we'll be in readiness to close with them as soon as they can get ready with title and their lender.
So that, and we've been waiting for all the final subdivision map and everything that's gonna be approved in early October. I think October 4th. That's the planning board meeting, right? Am I? CMI.
3rd.
October 3rd. I'm sorry, I don't have all the dates. I should have them memorized. I don't, but.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any. We've already got our site plan approval for the town for the project Falcon, so.
Yep, right, but lot 4 is gonna be merged in with lot 2,
Yes,
so the
correct.
subdivision map is gonna be done, so
Site
title.
plan approval for lot 4 is scheduled for October 3rd.
Right, so the subdivision map for the merger of 4 into 3. And the EDH, the Eagle Drive Holdings. Aggregation of property, so there's basically lot 1 and lot 2 up there will be completed with the planning board on that night, and that will allow title to be completed, and all we have to complete the subdivision along the same line that we do the closing. So there's a bunch of different helicopters flying around. Hopefully they're going to land at the same time.
I mean, immediately before they record a deed from us to them, a subdivision map, which has to be signed by the planning board chair of the town of Aurelius. Consistent with the approvals, has to be signed and then filed at the Q County Clerk's office. That's what he was talking about. Just
We might be able to buy the land without the subdivision map being filed. It's just all got to sort of work with the title company. So.
But ultimately, that is ready for the 3rd, so.
Yeah.
I did want to make one other quick, if that's okay. We will also potentially be building 1 or 2 stair towers out of masonry as part of in preparation for the steel. So we may want to amend, instead of saying up to and including foundations, we would say everything in preparation for the installation of the steel or something along those lines, so that we can include, there are going to be some things where, I shouldn't say thing of the stair towers that we will also want to have done prior to the installation of the steel.
So let's amend the motion to include the stair tower.
Okay, I move we amend the motion to include.
Second,
All in favor of the amendment? Any opposed? Yeah, to the original motion as amended. Is there any further discussion on that?
October 3rd, 7 o'clock. town roads.
Is that discussion, sir?
Oh, sorry, no, problem, yeah.
All in favor of the motion as amended?
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Order is met.
Thanks, sir.
Well, let's get Justin what he needs to.
Oh,
I fully understand the schedule between when we have a public hearing and when you can get your stuff in place. To not worry about the sales tax on the fabrication.
Is there anything else we need to do?
At this point, I'm unaware of it. Again, all these, as I said, helicopters in the air, the bank getting, we're not, we need to close this by October 16th, right? All of us, including the bank financing. We're gonna do everything we can to land that plane, right? And so I've got to coordinate with the bank's council, title insurance. There's a lot of balls in the air, and we got to move heaven and earth, right? And
All of that is your responsibility.
right, you guys have done what you want. That is, right? And we got to coordinate with Justin on our part.
I think we could agree, whenever we agree to having the public hearing, I think we could agree to have a meeting at the same time.
Yeah.
And
right.
and approve the project at that time. But. We don't get us in the middle of you and Justin and this other stuff.
No. If we can blame everything on Justin, even if it doesn't close, that's great too. But that isn't, look, you guys do the authorizing resolution again.
Justin said you guys might be able to do the final approval resolution after your public hearing. So, in other words, you have a meeting, within the meeting, you have a public hearing, you close the public hearing, and then we might have some resolutions immediately thereafter.
I do.
It's not gonna be you guys.
I
that does it.
understand how that works. I wanna make sure that
What have you?
that time schedule is all right with them.
We can, as long as the public hearing goes accordingly.
Correct.
And
Good point.
that's why we have a public hearing.
Exactly. I'm not gonna promise these guys something until we have the hearing.
As I said, we understand the risks.
I have 100 townspeople come out.
Yeah, like I said,
I
we
know
said
there was
that.
one that came to the planning board meeting.
You want Herb to mark up the title policy?
I heard if you'll do that, it'd be great too, right? But like I said, everything we can, I know Justin's working hard and to be thankful. I mean, we got this stuff last week, we worked through it, we worked over the weekend and all, it's clear, everybody's working towards that goal, so I appreciate it.
All on Friday or Thursday,
Whatever it was.
whatever it was. Like
Yeah.
We've got the cement taken care of.
Right.
I got one other thing I would discuss with you before we get to the pilot. When Brian Linney first talked to me, it was because he was talking with the Water and Sewer Authority, because he was awfully excited about getting a water line. And Carl, who's the head of our Water and Sewer Department, has been working really hard to try to get an easement to get there. But there's a number of things that have to be worked out to do that. And in front of all of us, I would like you all to tell us how important getting a second source of water is there.
Well, first off, there's some question as to whether or not the town water system can provide us the water that we need. I think it's doubtful, right? And from the engineering volumes if we wanted to buy every single all the water from the town, I don't think they could provide it. But secondly, the water rate issue and the sewer rate issue that are in front of us have the potential to kill the project. The long-term, but not necessarily building it, but the long-term viability of the plant and the value of the plant. Like if it costs us that much more to run the plant, it's worth less, right? Obviously, you have an income approach to determining property value. The expenses are significantly higher, the income is less. The pro formas become much more difficult. This is a real issue, and I know you all know it. But getting us, in my view, and speaking to Brian and speaking to the board members that we all work for, this is asked every meeting, and I think we need to figure out strategically and, get the right people around a table and figure out how this is going to happen, right? Because I have, as their lawyer, I have questions about even if we wanted, if you have the easement, what consents may be required from the town of Aurelius, and can we get them? And if we can't, what are the options, right? I think I haven't done the research, but I understand the Soil and Water was hiring an attorney up in Rochester to look through this. I think there's a legal process that needs to be followed, at least my recollection, we were on a Zoom call many months ago, right?
Right, but I think the key question is, at the end of the day, your first statement about whether they can supply with water or not. I think that's the first thing we need to resolve, and we'll work towards all our other goals. But at the end of the day, if they can't supply the water you need, you got your building permit, right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't have gave you one.
It's simple what the problems are. We need to be able to get there, and Carl has gotten a proposed easement across the solar farm, and he's got approval for an easement across both ends. The solar farm is the preferable one because it's not near as far and not near as many angles in the pipe. Carl needs to say that, because I don't know what I'm.
Well,
talking about.
the solar, yeah, the solar farm is the first preference. But at the end of the day, I'll take both of them.
Yeah.
And we'll let the engineer figure out where it works the best. But you know, and we've had Herbie, to his benefit, and I've learned a lot from Herbie in the last few months about being persistent. No matter what else you do in life, just keep banging on the door till it either falls off the hinges or somebody opens it. But irregardless, Herbie worked very diligently with the solar people to make progress with them. I kept hitting the wall, but they've been difficult to work with. I'm not I'm optimistic because that's my nature, but I'm still I'm keeping an ace in the hole with it, and I'm gonna acquire both right of ways. I see other things could happen in the future where another right of way may be.
I might be able to help you with the solar.
Okay. Well,
We
then I'll be
can talk, but we should need to talk offline in a
Okay.
strategic session off.
But I get.
If we could talk offline about that, I provided some comments back to the Water and Sewer Authority folks about strategically trying to get the line laid in the fastest way.
But to the Cuba milk ingredient, I want them to know that we're working very, very diligently to resolve this. We realize what's at stake here. We're all businessmen at some point in our life. We all understand.
So from our end, the dairy market house price, there's a thing called a make allowance. So it's the cost of the raw material, and then there's a USDA mandated make allowance, and that's how all pricing and costs are set. Because of these water increases and sewer increases, we're now above the really federal set standard for make allowance. And it's driven almost entirely by these water sewer rates. It was 5% of our operating costs a year ago. It's now 12% of our operating costs. It's been up 146%. It's making us uncompetitive in the dairy space. So it's very, very important to us that we get resolution.
The sewer cost, if anything, is important or more so than the water. We have left the contract to put a new forced sewer main in, and they're supposed to start when, Mark?
Couple weeks.
They're supposed to start that in a couple of weeks, and Rick has assured us that we have done that in a way that you can be our customer, not Aurelius's customer on that sewer line. So I think that's.
Mr. Marshall, can I just jump in for a second? When you say our customer, you mean Soil and Water, correct?
Yeah.
Not IDA.
Are in a number of.
Correct, but when you're speaking right now, it's on behalf of the Soil and Water Department and not the Water and Sewer, not the FDA.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure.
I'm glad
Somebody
that
does.
you keep me straight once in a while. That's fine.
Okay,
But
just a second.
we're reasonably there with the sewer, and I wanted with us looking you in the eye, how important the water is also, and I think you.
Well, to move the discussion down the track. Is there anything this board needs to do on that water?
What I think the board needs to do, I brought up at the last meeting, and John gave me a bad time about us hiring Justin to spend any money, and Carl and I said if Justin is going to charge, he and I will pay Justin's fee to do this, but if this board
We
would.
should enter the minute.
I'm not charging anybody, and
I have a little hold over Justin too, so it's fairly safe to say that, but this board can put in a water line and sell water to the milk plant, where it's still questionable whether the water and sewer authority can do that or not. This board.
Do you want us to move on that tonight or we're gonna?
No, if we can go into executive session at some point when you're.
All right, so let's.
That's an awful good idea, Justin.
Yeah.
Shall we do the pilot and then if we go into executive session, deal with that water thing at
Yeah,
that
are
time?
we doing the pilot and open session?
Yeah,
No, it's executive session.
Right. That's executive session.
for the pilot?
Yeah.
I move that we have an executive session for the pilot and that all of the people are here that are here.
If you're like.
Are able to stay in the executive.
Okay, I'll get your
Can't do that.
You can advise everyone you want.
John says I can do anything I want. Now he says I can't.
No, John says you always do whatever you want. No, you can't.
The pilot is involved with the milk plant. How can we go into a executive session? deal
We have an
with-
offer, we need to discuss it.
Agency.
I won't make the motion because you people don't like my motion. If you decide how to do it, we had a time several months ago where we had an executive session that was so long, all the milk plant people went out to lunch and then went home before we got out of the executive. Now I'm.
But I think this one will be quick, so let's go into the executive session.
Okay.
And then we can ask them to stay.
Do you want to stay long enough to get us through this?
All in favor? Oh.
Sure. You want me to leave for executive session?
Yes.
Yeah, but not leave.
I want you to stay, but John wants to.
Well,
We're gonna clock it, Herb, though.
Well,
Don't wanna
no,
go-
Robert's rules says you should leave.
And I think it was you that helped me, I'm wrong.
Yes.
Wherever.